Hey guys, what's going on? Dace here, and today I'm gonna be, doing a little something. I was talking to my buddy Jeff from Go Game Go, or Gogamego, however you want to say it, a few nights ago, and we were just talking about doing some sort of just like void gore tips or like that kind of stuff. Just for those who are kind of like wondering a little bit about how the game works, or just what you can do to just start scoring higher or whatever. I'm by no means an expert, and I'm even still learning some of the ins and outs and just how to play better and better and stuff. But I figured I would put something together just because I like projects like this from time to time, and I've been really enjoying Void Gore lately. It's pretty much the only thing I'm playing these days. So I figured, yeah, you know what? I'll just record a bunch of runs, see how they go and which one I want to use for the footage. Now, of course, I will say that this run does not. This run is not a representation of like the best I can do. I'm currently sitting at 4th place on the leaderboards. I think I score a little over 1,200,000 something in this particular run. So yeah, there are definitely higher scores, and that 4th place is certainly higher. But you will be able to see things in this that demonstrate how I go about it personally. And of course, everyone's going to have their own style, so keep that in mind too. There's no one right way to play this, or any other game for that matter. But yeah, some people, they go the route of like right from the get-go, starting with 0 lives. Like they knock themselves down, because when you are when you're at 0 lives, you get the ability to get like the 12x multiplier. I don't go that route. I always love, like, for those who know me, it doesn't matter what kind of game, I always love as much HP as possible, or as many lives as possible. Like, I love stockpiling. So the way I do it is I just play as well as I can without getting hit, for as long as I can, and accumulate as many lives as I can. That's where my longevity really shines, in Void Gore especially, because it is a very hectic game. So in a nutshell, I suppose I could just explain like a little bit about how things work. I know there was one comment from a buddy on Twitter just the other day, like, yeah, like his weapon wasn't doing enough damage, and he was just like not sure like what was going on there. And so there are a couple things involved. So first, for instance, there are item drops. If you see the letter D, that is obviously a damage boost. If you see the letter B, that is a bullet increase, which technically can be damage boost, because more bullets means more damage, because more bullets are hitting the enemy than not when you do boost that. And yeah, of course you can get like missile, like more and more missiles, which of course are going to pack a punch. And other than that, just like, yeah, if you've been playing it, you know how it works. You can get a bigger clear space, faster speed for that recharging, of course, and so it's a very straightforward game in that sense, and that's one thing that I really feel shines about this. It's very well balanced, it's super plain and simple, and yet it just has you wanting to go run after run just to crush your high score. Like, when you score once, you just want to keep going, you want to do better and better. Anyway, that's what I'm loving about it. And I find that the enemies are also very balanced. Like I said, it's hectic. So anyway, as for like some strategies or basic things, for the most part, I always keep myself in the middle. Sometimes if I'm like veering off to avoid something, I go towards the outside, which is, it's risky, because sometimes there's going to be something coming on the screen from the sides that you can just ram right into. So ideally, I recommend like veering more into the middle, if it's safe, of course, because the middle is the safest place in this game. Nothing's going to come from the bottom per se, unless one of these like mouth guys like loops down and then comes back around. That's like the exception. But yeah, honestly, the eyes, like, I suppose this is going to be very casual. If you're looking for like this super laid out whatever, like, that's not this video. I'm just treating this as a very casual thing where we just sit back and chat about it. So yeah, as you can see, the eyes are really no threat as long as you're doing enough damage to take them out quickly. Otherwise they can kind of just like ram right into you. But the mouth dudes, those guys can be pesky because they do come veering in from the sides and just they will circle you and all that kind of stuff. The big guys, like on the screen right there, that spew out things, yeah, those guys aren't really an issue. The things that look like corrupted hearts that are sometimes attached to other ones by like a vein or whatever it's supposed to be, those can be tricky depending on what kind of attack they're using. Sometimes there are tiny, fast-moving shots. Other times there are fairly large ones. Now, you'll probably see me do this a few times. I might be able to point out if I'm paying attention, but sometimes you'll get a whole cluster of like 5 or 6 that are attached with these veins that come out all at once. And if you are not ready to fire off your clear space to at least take out the bulk of them, then you are pretty much going to be taking like a mess of hits. It's crazy. So one thing I suggest is be wise about when and where you use your clear space. I know it can be tempting to use it against like single enemies and stuff, but you really just got to kind of get an intuitive feel for when these big guys are going to come out. And you can kind of gauge it because you'll see like the little hint when they creep onto the screen and then they move full force into their position. So sometimes you can see that, okay, this is definitely going to be a cluster, so you want to be waiting and using your clear space for at least like 5 out of the 6 or 3 out of the 4 or what have you. And I do it normally so that like the ones closest to me are within the sphere so that they're taken care of, and then I can easily just shoot and clean up the one at the top of the screen. So that's not really a big deal. And that's been working out great for me. So other than that, to be honest, I think the skulls are definitely my current bane. Those guys, like, I think if this were any other shmup, like, I would feel like it's that style of enemy would be the easiest to deal with. But there's just something about these skulls being in here amidst all the chaos of the other enemies that, like, sometimes when even 2 or 3 skulls are showing up and they're just launching their tracking shots, like it can just sometimes mess me up. It can be rough at times. But other than that, like, it's honestly just about practice. There's no like big secret to this game. Like, you will just get better and better as you go. I remember, like, in the first few days, I was struggling to get past level 14, 15. Like, if I made it to 15, that was amazing. But then it started to get to the point where it's like, okay, I'm hitting 18 regularly, and then I'm hitting level 20, 22, whatever. The run in which I got to 4th place, that was, I think I got to level 33 or something like that. So yeah, eventually you're just going to get runs that you get farther and farther along. And when you are stacking all of these power-ups and stuff, it's in ways, like, sure, it does get way more intense as you go, but at the same time, it does get kind of easier to just coast because you're just ripping through everything. You're just laying waste to everything in sight. And if you're just really in the zone and you're just using everything to your advantage and you're clearing the space when you need to, like, you're using that wisely, you can just push it. You can just keep going and going and going, and that's where you'll definitely be doing really well in terms of scoring high. So I don't really think there's too much else to say, to be honest. Like, it's fairly straightforward. It's funny because when I did my first look of this, I didn't realize that yeah, if you just let go of firing, you can move a hell of a lot faster, like, I have no idea why I didn't think about that, because so many shmups work that way, or at least with a concentrated burst sort of thing, so it's not like I'm unfamiliar with that idea. But someone in the comments mentioned, actually the person who did the music for this game was like, oh, by the way, if you just do this, you can, like, move. So yeah, that was great to know, because that is crucial in this game. But at the same time, I still feel like I did pretty well playing the way that I was, where I was holding down the attack constantly, and because it was just like an extra challenge, of course. So yeah, I think in this one, I think we make it to like level 26. If you really want to be scoring more than you're, like, more per level, then you're going to want to be at 0 lives all the time. That counts as your last life. But like I said, to me it just makes sense to have as many lives, and then when you do finally get to that stage where you are at 0 lives, you're going to be into the higher levels, which means when you start surviving at that point, compared to earlier on, you're going to be just getting insane points, as far as I understand it anyway. So in that sense, it just makes sense to just rack up as many lives as you can, just to stay in the game longer and longer and longer. So yeah. Anyway, I don't think I need to like just babble on for the next few minutes. We can just, if you guys want to watch the last of this run, like I said, it's not the greatest run, but it does demonstrate some things, and it's an opportunity for us to just sit and chat and see some action. But oh man, I'm loving this game. I feel like they could have actually done maybe a little more, because it didn't take much at all to fill out the few like purchasable things that you can do, and then after that it's like, okay, well, all this currency is just being accumulated and it's not going anywhere other than the 2 things that I do, which are like the double coins or whatever, and the ×2 bonus multiplier or whatever that you can do from the store. Now, interestingly enough, that you can do the whole like Satan boss thing, which will show up at level 10. I've tackled that a few times. It hasn't really interested me, because like sometimes by the time I get to level 10, I barely have any upgrades and it's just a sloppy mess. Other times, just like not with that boss in place, but just doing the game in general, sometimes I get like 3 power-ups in a row in the same level. So I'm not sure like what. There's a perfect example of just getting that whole cluster of guys done. And as you can see, there are just like skulls everywhere. They're just going crazy. But what was I saying? Oh man. Yeah, power-ups. I feel like I would love to know just how the power-ups work, like what percentage they kind of operate on, like when they drop, what triggers that kind of stuff and all of that. But anyway, I don't need to keep babbling on. If you found any use from this, things you didn't know, or you just have a better understanding of like a few things here and there you can implement, fantastic. Let me know what you think in the comments, how you play, how you're enjoying this, or how well you're doing, or if you want to pick this up, that would be fantastic. Let me know all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna sit here and watch the rest of this. But yeah, for the most part, there's no magic trick about it. You just learn the enemies, recognize stuff as fast as you can, and just move quick to avoid being hit, and just get as many power-ups as you can. Like, it's always brutal when you see one vanish at the bottom of the screen because you couldn't get there in time, especially if it was like health or like extra damage, because you want to be taking dudes out faster and faster, that is for sure. So anyway, that's going to be it, everybody. Thanks for being here and for supporting the channel, and we will see you guys next time.